not sorry for where I've come from. Just where that's all behind me. Grown too strong, I don't go down easy. Living for grace the best I can. I'm a Jesus girl. Jesus girl. All the way. I'm a Jesus girl. You changed my heart. I'm a Jesus girl. Ooh, fall forward, up and over. If I go, it's only higher. No matter where I stand, it's always on the Lord's side. 'Cause I've been reading Jesus girl. Hey, Jesus girl.
What's up? What's up? It is Wednesday, so y'all know what time it is. It's time for the Wednesday's Word for Women show. Yes, and you know the brothers is always welcome to the delegation. I hope thus far your day has been flipping along fantabulously. Your week, matter of fact, has been rocking this entire planet. And if you need just a little juice, because maybe a little, then we understand that our reactions, attitudes, and responses is all under our control. We can't control nobody else, but we can control that, and we don't have to let nobody, not even ourselves, kill our vibe or steal our joy, because we know that we can flip through the Rolodexes of our mind, find those things to be grateful and thankful for, and that will shift our mood, which in turn shifts the mood around wherever we are at and whoever we have to be around. Well, every year I've been doing this. This is the fourth year. I try to do something on forgiveness, because I think forgiveness is one of the biggest barriers to living our best life. I think emotionally, I think unforgiveness actually is one of the biggest barriers. And because like seemingly unforgiveness can drive you, it pushes people to do certain things because the unforgiveness is propelling them. We think that it's okay because the unforgiveness seemingly keeps us protected, because we just won't allow anyone else in that area. We think it's a good look. But unforgiveness is a very dangerous, slippery slope. And I don't even know that we will know the full ramifications of what unforgiveness does to us emotionally. In our hearts. Your heart is your mind, your will, your emotions, your personality. Like, I really don't know that we get the full scope of what it actually does. We do know that there's some physical ramifications. We do know there's some mental ramifications. A lot of mental illnesses, not all, but a lot of them are driven by emotional unhealthiness, and unforgiveness is always like an underlying layer. So we do know those things are affected. We do know that unforgiveness is like a pair of glasses, and we see everything through that lens, the lens of the unforgiveness. And so we don't get accurate pictures. We do know that unforgiveness is detrimental to ourselves. And so I always try to every year just talk about it a little bit. I am not telling you what to do. I just hope that you can hear something that you can take that will make it work for you, so that you in your particular situations, because I don't know it and I don't know what that unforgiveness is. You can't just like measure them all by the same standards. I'm not belittling or minimizing. I don't know, and because of that, I'm not a psychologist. I am not a doctor. And so sometimes you need those things to help you, because there are some things that are like you just need help. I actually, and no diss, because I needed help with some forgiveness in a particular area. And I am a proponent of therapy. I don't care. Yes, you need Jesus, but if you also might need a couch. You feel me? I'm just saying, ain't nothing wrong with it. So if there are some things that are so huge and so horrendous that it is best to get help to work through it. Now, I'm not in place of none of that, but I do know that unforgiveness is universal and it hits us all, and it does affect all of our lives. And so one of my favorite scriptures about forgiveness, there's like over 50, like I stopped. Like it's a thing, guys. It's a thing, and I'm not gonna hit you with that. But one of my favorite ones is Colossians in 3:13, and it says, "Bear with each other and forgive one another if any of you have grievance against someone. Forgive as the Lord forgave you." I love that one because it's saying bear with each other and forgive one another. It's not saying that it's not going to be hard, that it's not a weight, like it's not a thing. It's not saying that it's not that. And it's saying a grievance. So yes, there is beef. There should be beef. This should be a thing where you're finding it hard to forgive. Let's not act like that God wants us just to run around here singing the hallelujah chorus, unicorns, poppy fields, and sunflowers. Like, oh, it's cool that you did that. That's not what he's saying. But what he is saying is to forgive as the Lord forgave you. Okay, so here's the thing. God forgives us all for anything, but he does not excuse us from the consequences all the time. And so forgiving someone doesn't mean that they just get off scot-free. There's still consequences to a person's actions. It's just we're saying we're releasing that over because we are not going to bear that burden. We're not going to tie ourselves to them in that way. And so let's not get it twisted. Let's not, over spiritualize it, though it does directly impact your spirituality and how healthy that is. You gotta be real. But please understand, this is a thing that everybody struggles with. I'm sure anyone and everyone will tell you right now there's something that they have that they're finding it hard to forgive someone. And I will say this, it never gets easier. Ever. Never. But I find now that I am more quick to turn in that direction versus it was, I will never know. I am quicker now to turn to that. Some things I have to struggle. It's still a struggle, but I keep working at it. And I do not want that on me, unforgiveness on me. Like I just don't, because it really wrecked my life. I can't explain how much unforgiveness drove my decision. And then in light of that, how much I lost and how much I missed out on because unforgiveness was the lens I looked through at everything. And so unforgiveness, guys, is like this cup. Okay, so the thing happened down here, and then more stuff keeps happening. And more stuff keeps happening because people are people, and they're going to hurt you. They're going to do wrong. They're going to mess up. And so eventually you come to a cap where there's no forgiveness left. And so any other thing, a simple thing that you would have just blew off forgiving quickly, you cannot, because you have all of this. There's no room for forgiveness for the things that would just roll off your shoulders or that you would easily forgive. You can't, because your capacity to forgive is at max. And so please, y'all, understand, unforgiveness is not just singular. It has a myriad of effects. It goes everywhere. It fills you up like this cup. It literally fills up you, and you have no capacity, no room for the good things, for the things you want to happen. And so with the people that you want to happen to, like you can't stand and you don't like and you don't want to rock with that person, but look, you have no room. And so you won't even be able to rock with the people that you do want to rock with. Relationships you do want to have. You'll be stunted. You will have no room for healthily to deal with folks and to deal with situations and things. And that's where we get all the stresses, the mental stresses. Life gets out of whack. We start trying to self-medicate. We start making moves out of desperation versus clarity because we're so full of that we can't see clear. And so I think another thing we have to remember is the things that happen to us don't define us. And that's the thing I really get at the root of all of my issues. The things that happened to me didn't have to define me. And those are the very areas that God could use me. He uses me now, but the things that happen to you don't define you and can be an area that God can use you. And so I think as we take a step back, as we not excuse, not act like we've got spiritual amnesia, act like it didn't affect us. As we really look at that, we can say, yeah, this sucked. They suck. What happened to me sucked. But it doesn't mean that I suck. I always say people can only be who they are, and they are all they can be, and all they can do is what they were at that time. And people are hurting, they're jacked up, they got their own brokenness, they got their own issues. That was their issue that enabled them to do the thing. And even some of us have been done the unforgivable by people who love us. So, that is their stuff. We got to stop taking on people's stuff and putting it on us. I found myself being this big garbage dump can for folks because, I was taking on their burdens. I was taking on their brokenness on top of mine. And that crushes you. You weren't built like that. You were not built for that. And so just understanding that people can only be who they are. And even though it's not who we needed them to be, that's all they could be. Their brokenness is their story, just like we have ours. And so at least we give them that and can let it go. Don't let those things define you. And that's hard because it happened to you. But just because it happened to you, that does not mean that needs to define you. You just have to imagine, also a thing that helps me, other folks are going through something similar. The same thing can affect everybody differently, but just understand, folks are going through what we cannot see. And unforgiveness, you cannot see it. But as you realize it's not only me, there's a comfort in it. I'm not the only one that was abused. I'm not the only one that was sexually abused. I'm not the only one that struggled with addiction. I'm not the only one that was rejected, dejected, beat up. I'm not the only one who was done wrong. I'm not the only one who got used or walked on. I'm not the only one. And there's a comfort in that because it's not something strange that happens, to you, because it happens everywhere at all time, because we're human. Humanity, there's a depravity in humanity, and we will hurt, and hurting people hurt people, and brokenness will never fix brokenness, and we try to look to those broken things to give fixes and wholeness, and it will never work. But that's our tendency, and that's okay. That's humanity. Once you understand that this is humanity, there's a certain comfort. It doesn't make it easier, but there's a certain comfort. You're not weird. It's not strange. There wasn't something wrong with you that this happened to you. No, humanity is being humanity. That's why it happened to you. It happened to you because of what's going on with that person. Nothing to do with you. You're not strange or weird. And so just understanding that there's things that are happening like this all over is a certain comfort. And so if you can even look at it through that lens, like, hey, I have to do the work. I got to heal and deal. But I know that my brother, my sister, people everywhere, she, her, him, them, Tom, Dick, and Harry, Sally, Sue, they're all trying to heal and deal. They're all has had things happen to them that they wished wouldn't. They all had the unforgivable happen to us. And so that levels the playing ground. And so if you level the ground, you can then clearly see to start doing the work that you have to do for getting over the unforgiveness. It's a process. You're gonna have to keep striving, diving into yourself, and striving past that circumstance, that event, that thing that is so unforgivable. So I hope this just gave you some food for thought. I hope you will at least entertain the idea of forgiving that unforgivable, because I'm telling you, boo-boo, it is affecting you. It may seem like it's making you strong, but I promise you it is doing some things into your spirit, your soul, your body, your mind, all of that. And you don't want to give them that as well as all they took from you as they done the unforgivable. Cut that tie. I hope this helps you. I hope it gives you food for thought. You guys be blessed. I love you. It's now time for Pastor Pay, and it will be a hot topic. And so I will see you guys here next week. Be blessed. Your biggest fan, praying for you. Bye-bye. So it's just funny. Last week, my hot topic was the encouragement of Sha'Carri Richards as she overcame some obstacles to win the race and run like she did. And this week she gets to be our encouragement. She obviously, if you don't know, she was going to the Olympics. Of course, now she is not. She got UA'd, and it came to find out that she was positive for marijuana. And it was legal in where she had smoked it, but she took a 30-day suspension, and she came out and she said there was a lot of things. She had 2 deaths of people, critical in her life, and she was just trying to manage. She did that in that moment to help cope. And I want to encourage you for her story. I'm not going to get on, I have my opinion on that, but that's not what this is for. This is just I just want you to see, get encouragement from her. I want to caution us of what we're using to cope. The circumstances and situations were hard. It was painful for her, but she herself acknowledges that, yes, the way that I went about dealing with it, was not a good way in that moment. And so I just wanted to encourage you to think about how you are coping. For me, because of how lifestyle changes that I made, I actually started coping with the way that I eat. So eating and eating sweets, matter of fact, specifically is a way that I have coped. Yeah, let's be real. A carb can comfort. I don't care what nobody say. A carb can comfort. It's bread is from the Lord. The sugar is you feel a little better now. Give me a good snack cake, and I can do this thing. I can keep pushing forward. And so I've used that to cope. But in using that to cope, I have gained a lot of weight, and so then it has got out of whack. So then you have to see these ways that we're using to cope, though that is seemingly cool, it can have ill effects on you. It can turn out to be unhealthy if you start using this thing to cope in it gets out of hand, and you use it in a way that goes too far to the left or too far to the right. Not that a good snack cake or a good thing isn't good, but it is not good if you're doing 10 versus 2. We have a problem in humanity. We generally will over obsess or go over the top with a thing. We'll overuse a thing because it works. And so I just want you to take from her. She's like, that's not a good way to cope. I mean, didn't change the fact that her circumstances didn't change. She really was in pain. It was a hard time, and she did need something. We do need things to help us cope, because life gets shown up hard, but we just got to be careful that it's the thing that that will not be harmful to us, on top of whatever it is we're trying to cope with. It's like we keep adding layers, trying to avoid the thing, and we end up making it worse for ourselves and more problems. So she is an encouragement of how to, course correct. She didn't try to excuse herself. She just said, this is what it was, and so I did this, and so now I'm taking my 30-day suspension, which actually excludes her from the Olympics. It's a great loss, but it's also a learning lesson. So let's help us use the failures, use our mess ups in life to teach us. They're teaching. It's never meant to stop us. So I'm just imagining she's gonna come back to the next Olympics even stronger. You know what I'm saying? And so those mess ups, those things that we do, we didn't know better, so we didn't do better, doesn't have to stop us. But once you know better, then you do better. And so take your knocks in life, take the hits, be encouraged by Sha'Carri, and be like, okay, yeah, I did it, I messed up, that wasn't a good look, but now let me get up, I acknowledge it, I'm not blaming anyone, I'm not gonna try to excuse myself. I'm gonna do the thing, I'm gonna take my consequences, I'm gonna take that knock. It's a hard knock life, but I'm gonna use it, and I'm gonna grow from it, and I'm gonna learn to do better from what I didn't do better from. So I hope she encourages you in that way. So be blessed. See you next week.
Jesus, God.